McGregor, and I'm so honored that you have stopped by of all of the many places on the World Wide Web that you could be tonight. I'm grateful that you stopped by and hung out with us tonight. As you all know, we've got two incredible speakers who are prepared and waiting in the waiting room. This is our theme this month, Own Your Mark. And we started off week one with my spiritual father, Pastor Wright, who got us started on the right foot and talked about owning our mark spiritually. And then we moved on up the road, and my big sis, Charlotte Stallings, talked to us about owning our financial stewardship and our financial responsibility. And this week is week 3, and we've got two soarers. One, Dr. Felice Hightower Britt, who is going to be sharing with us on mental wellness. And we know it's a hot topic, but she's going to give us tips on how to care for yourself and how to care for those that you love, right? And then we are moving from mental wellness to physical wellness, because we're owning all of it. We can't own our mark if we're not right spiritually, if we ain't got our money right financially, and if we want to make sure that our headspace is good, and then we want to make sure that our bodies, our temples are good. It would be remiss of us on this day, which is celebrated across this country as Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, known as the National Day of Service. And service is who we are. And so it would be remiss of us to not take a moment and pause and talk about Dr. Martin Luther King and his life and how we are inspired in this community of service. And so I'm going to be bringing to you, a couple of weeks ago, we made the announcement that Bo Nichols, who will be leading all of our monthly service projects. And that is one of the epicenters of this whole community is service. And so he's going to be leading this effort. And
to everyone who jumped in with Dahlia and myself, who jumped into things that were happening in their cities, that made things happen in their cities as well, all across the globe. As I said, we're from Texas to California to Atlanta, North Carolina. We had everybody who was involved today for a day of service.
Delana, give us our digital download for the week. Delana, there she is. Delana, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. You were traveling and you were able to escape the snow or blizzard.
Yes, ma'am.
Turn it over to you for a digital download with Delana.
Last week, registration opened for the very first masterclass of 2022 with Miss Ivy. We have only a few slots left, so let's make it our goal to do source, do best, and sell that out. Any investment that you make into yourself will be an investment into service and investment into the community. Register now with the link on the screen. Last Friday, Miss Ivy unveiled our first piece of merchandise for 2022, which is our Source We Love It Here t-shirt to pay ode to Black History Month, which is coming up. So for today, that's the digital download. So make sure you're following on all platforms. Make sure you secure your seat in the masterclass and leave your mark and own your mark. Delana starts, and that's today's digital download.
I'm telling you all, we are going somewhere this year. Listen, I'm telling you, what's happening in this community is exponential. People have grabbed on to who they are. They are owning their mark and making a stake in the ground. And I'm so excited for what is happening. And tonight we're talking about owning wellness with our mental wellness and owning wellness physically. And our first presenter is Felice Hightower Britt. I'm so honored that she is here tonight. Dr. Felice Hightower Britt, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. Can you see me all right?
Yes, we see you just fine. So excited that you were here. With that, I want to turn it over to you, and we're excited to hear from you tonight.
Thank you, Miss Ivy, for your gracious invitation, allowing me to speak to the Source community about mental health. It is an honor and a privilege to share with you, and I pray that the information that I share with you tonight can be used immediately in helping you to own your mark. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, the oldest child with 2 brothers who grew up like a lot of African-American families. What happens in this house stays in this house. And mental health was never a topic of discussion. We took everything to God. But my personal life had mental health laced throughout it. It took me decades before I realized it, starting with my birth. My entry into this earth was greeted with protected trauma. My original birth date was October 22nd, but I arrived 24 days earlier on September 28th due to my father, who is challenged with paranoid schizophrenia. He beat my mother so badly that she went into premature labor. I grew up witnessing the domestic violence against my mother for many years until she got the courage to leave my father. I also have a younger brother who is thriving with autism. So that is just a snippet of my journey, but you've already heard of 4 mental health issues that I dealt with, which is paranoid schizophrenia, autism, trauma, and domestic violence. Fast forward to today, I am now a licensed clinical mental health counselor who works hard speaking and encouraging others to lessen the stigma around mental health. Mental health is a mindset. We are comprised of a mind, a body, and a soul. The mind is our mental health, the body is our physical, and the soul is our emotions and our will. They all work together to help us to be who we are and how we show up. I personally find that we don't give a lot of attention to the mind mental health part of our brain, which is the Mac Daddy organ. The brain pretty much dictates the daily functioning of our bodies. I mention this so that I can better help you understand the importance of a strong mental health mindset, especially during this time that we're currently living in. There's COVID, social racial injustice, natural disasters, supply chain issues, no toilet paper to be found, and skyrocketing inflation. Issues that are worldwide and challenging all of us to learn how not to become overwhelmed by it all and manage our anxiety. Anxiety, by the way, is the most common mental health issue, and it affects 40 million Americans yearly, with women twice as likely as men to experience it. But please don't get alarmed by that. Anxiety is not necessarily a bad thing. We all have a natural level of anxiety because it was designed to keep us safe or to perform better. For example, you're going to your car late at night and you sense to look around and observe your surroundings. That is the role of anxiety. Or you have to present to a group of people in the morning and you stay up all night preparing. Again, that is the role of anxiety. Anxiety is designed to help you to make sound decisions when in the line of danger. You may have noticed that you or a loved one has been a little bit more anxious than usual, and you're not sure how to get on top of it or how to address the issue. Don't worry, you're okay, because I'm going to share some tips on how you can do so. Earlier, if you remember, I shared that mental health is your wealth. This is so because it determines how you choose to see things. Anxiety is triggered by the realization of how much we don't control and distorted thoughts that lead to worry, that lead to fear, which leads to negative emotions, then leads to negative behaviors. So one thing that we must all do is to deal in the facts. Do you recall that I said earlier, congratulations for making it through into 2022? I said that because that's a fact. You are here. You made it. So that signals me that you got more to do. There is more to be done by you. So let's dive into this. Facts. Getting the facts helps you to develop a healthy mindset. Understand, you may not be able to control the thoughts that come, but you can control how long they nest. What do you mean by this, Felice? The thought comes and you realize that it's a negative thought. You tell your thought right then, either mentally or verbally, not today, thought. We're not going to have lunch today. Then you must change that thought or distract yourself from that thought. Then you have to reframe the negative thought to a positive thought. Next, watch how quickly your emotion changes. Remember, I shared The emotion is triggered by the thought. So for the sake of time, those were just a few tips on how to have a strong mental health mindset. Next, how do we begin to have the gentle conversations with loved ones about ourselves and the things that you're noticing? Please get your pen and paper out, as I have 8 suggestions for you. You let me know when you're ready. I'm going to count to 5 because I can't really see you, so I can't tell if you're ready. But I'm going to give you 5 seconds to get your pen and paper out because I've got 8 suggestions for you, okay? And they're important. They're suggestions on how to have those gentle conversations with loved ones. Number 1, create a safe and non-judgmental space. Avoid saying things such as, snap out of it, pull yourself together. Those statements imply judgment, and judgment breeds stigma. We don't want to do that. Remember, create a safe and non-judgmental space for your loved one. Tip number 2, be present. Slow down long enough in your own mind so that you can be totally present and available to the one you love. Number 3, use some active listening. You do this by summarizing what you believe you heard your loved one relayed. For example, so I believe I heard you say ... Is that correct? You continue that dialogue throughout your entire conversation. Please know that it's not easy, right? Because we are extremely distracted. We are distracted people. So active listening is a skill, but don't worry. Just practice, right? And in fact, you don't even have to practice during those moments. You can practice now with your loved ones or friends or people you like. Summarize what you think you heard them say. Active listening. Number 4, honor your word. If you said you would be there for them, then show up and be consistent. One way you can do this is by creating a routine check-in. This not only honors your time, this honors theirs as well. Number 5, commit to communicate no matter how tense it becomes. And believe me, it will get tense, and rightfully so. We don't talk about mental health on a daily basis. It's not something that we discuss. So it's not something you really know how to process through. So you committing to communicate, even when it gets tense or possibly confrontational, will show just how much you care about your loved one. Number 6, always express hope and stay positive. You are not disregarding the reality of their situation by doing so. Sometimes you may have your loved one say, you're too optimistic. You're not listening. My current reality is this. No, you are listening, but you have to be that voice of reason. You have to be that voice and that light of hope to redirect them, to let them know that this too shall pass, that there is light on the other end. Stay positive and express hope. Number 7, be patient and be calm. It may take a minute for you and or your loved one to accurately articulate what's going on with them. Again, remember, we don't have daily conversations about mental health. So they may need a little bit longer time in processing what they want to relay or what their current experience is like. So be patient and be calm. And number 8, reach out for help. If you notice that the situation is becoming too much for you to handle, get help. There's nothing wrong with getting help. We all need help from time to time. The only mistake we make is when we don't get help when we're in need. Again, number 8, reach out for help. Last but not least, and y'all forgive me because I don't keep people long. That's the truth. So I need you to know that you are equipped. Let me repeat that. Know that you are equipped. We were created to be resilient. We were created to survive and to thrive. Allow me to give you some final tips I believe will help you to build your resiliency muscle and help you to feel confident about being equipped. Now, these tips will help you to govern the flow of your day So I hope you still have your pen and paper handy, and I'm believing you do, but I'm just going to count to 2 just in case. You ready? Okay. Tip number 1, give thanks the moment you open your eyes in the morning. There's so many things we take for granted, and sometimes we just take for granted that just because we go to sleep, we're guaranteed to wake up. No, that's not true. There's so many people who don't wake up out of their sleep. So if you happen to open your eyes, give thanks. That's number 1. Number 2, simple, but drink some water. Healing takes place during sleep. Our organs are working hard, removing those toxins, right? So we become dehydrated while in sleep mode. So in order to get that brain functioning properly, drink some water. I always keep water on my nightstand. So after I give thanks when I open my eyes, I drink some water. Number 3, do a centering activity, such as prayer, reading your Bible, meditation, yoga, devotion, a nature walk, or simply being still. You'll be surprised the change in your life when you do a centering activity. Many of us continuously hit that snooze button, and then we find ourselves rushed and in a panic, trying to get dressed, take our shower, maybe get some coffee. Well, if you pay close attention, you'll realize that you set the tone for your day. It probably is in rush mode throughout the day. You have the power to control the flow of your day if you do a centering activity. Trust me. Number 4, speak positive affirmations into the universe. Words are powerful and they manifest. And I hope, and I don't know, but I know just for me, I'm gonna share something with you. I listen to Miss Ivy, and I've been listening to her for a minute now. And if you listen closely to her, much of her success, if you are closely listening, is to her speaking life into her future. It's to the positive affirmations that she shares and through her prayer life. So I need you to understand how important speaking positive affirmations into the universe is. Speak positive affirmations, number 4. Number 5, set your daily or weekly intention. Set an intention to be kind or to extend grace or to extend mercy. Pay it forward. Practice more self-care. Exercise. Whatever it is you choose. Set a daily or weekly intention. Number 6, and just know that I'm practicing this one myself, okay? Purposefully slow down. Slow down in your walk. Slow down in your talk, in your thoughts, in your movements. We are so busy, always trying to arrive, hustling, bustling, on our grind. Slow down. This is not a race. Whatever you were purposed to be, you'll get there. All right. And just know that once you arrive, it's a wrap. So we should always trying to arrive. We should never arrive. Number 7, stay connected to others. Keep lifelines open. One of the things that I've been practicing over the last few years is that when someone comes to my mind, I try to immediately pray. I do know and understand that we really are. We're a busy society, right? So a lot of times you can't get to someone and make a phone call. Well, send them a text real quick. Hey, sis. Hey, bro. I love you. I'm thinking of you. You okay? Stay connected to people. Stay connected to your loved ones. Keep those lines of communication open. It not only makes the person feel good, but makes you feel good too. Step number 8, volunteer. Get community minded through your church or causes that you're passionate about. This community is a great opportunity and I love it. It allows us to be community minded and to give to others in need on a weekly basis. And sometimes I may not have it. I may not have a lot to give, but because I'm a part of the source community, my little magnifies, right? So, we'll hear Miss Ivy come and tell us, we started at 30, but look at here, we at 700. I did that. Even though I had a little bit, I contributed to the magnification up to $700 to help someone in need. And there's magic in giving, right? Even though you're giving and you're volunteering of your time, your gifts and your talents and your money, you get back. You feel really good. What does that do? That develops and creates a healthy mental health mindset. Number 9, and I know you've heard it time and time and again, and I'm going to leave this space to Dr. Davita Hammond coming behind me, but get proper sleep, diet, and nutrition. It all contributes to our mental health and well-being. And number 10, this is special, and y'all don't kill or shoot the messenger, okay? I have a homework assignment for you. Before you go to bed each night, I know, homework, really? Yeah. Before you go to bed each night, I want you to write down 3 new things that you are grateful for every night. What will this do? This will ensure that you are intentionally looking for the good and the positive things in your daily life, in spite of somebody cutting you off just to get to the red light, that long line in Walmart because there's nobody working and there's no more chicken. All those in spite ofs, right? You are being intentional about the things that you are grateful for. Can you imagine how powerful that is? All of these tips gives you the control of how you choose to govern your day. Yes, you would be correct. There are so many things we can't control, but guess what? There are a lot of things that we do and can control. So I hope the information that I shared with you is a blessing to you. And I thank you so much for your time and attention. Please know that I'm greatly aware that you could have spent your time elsewhere, but you stayed. Thank you. And thank you again, Miss Ivy. I am so humbled for you having me and entrusting me to share with your community. Have a blessed week, everyone, and happy Martin Luther King Day.
You were absolutely amazing. The information was so insightful, so real, so transparent. You were absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for preparing such rich content that can help us all exactly where we are. Everybody, can you please give it up in the comments for our own story? You guys don't know the wealth that we have in this community. Next up, we're moving from the mind, and now we're going to the body. Some call it the temple. And I am honored to bring to you Dr. Davita Hammond, who is going to talk about our physical wealth. Dr. Hammond, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We're so honored to have you and to learn from you. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to my mentor of 2 years. Thank you, Miss Ivy, so much. Well, I'm going to dive right in. I know you guys have your pencils and your pens and your paper. I just want to I want to go back to Dr. Felice. You know, she talked about emotional wellness and the mind. And this is how alignment works, because there's so many overlapping points that I have that you have already heard from her. So when we think about physical and emotional health and wellness, they're intersecting. They almost become one when you're on the trajectory to healing and wholeness. So, you know, she started with the head. That's exactly where I'm going to take you guys. I'm going to start with the head and we're going to work down to your toes. We are going to go through this. We're going to navigate. I have insights tonight for you. I have tips. So like I said, get your pen and paper. I know you already have them ready. Let's go. We're going to dive into it. So when we start with the head, we know the head houses the brain. And when we think about the brain, we think about the importance. And I want to share this very important aspect and perspective that I use myself. It's called mind shifting. There's 2 areas of focus that I want you guys to take notes on tonight: multitasking and resting. Oftentimes with multitasking, we think that we're accomplishing so much. What you're actually doing in multitasking is toggling from one task to the other. You're really not conquering as much as you think that you are. So I want you to shift your perspective of multitasking and understanding that the brain and the mind cannot have 2 thoughts at once. So when I give you these tips, I want you to shift when you think about multitasking to really realize and embrace that you are just toggling back and forth. I want you to think of the second area of focus, and that's rest. As Dr. Felice mentioned, you have to get sleep. So really resting. And what happens when you are effective and understanding that you're moving away from multitasking, where you're really focusing on one task at a time? I will tell you this. We'll start with this first tip. When it comes to multitasking and really focusing on the task at hand. If you're working throughout the day, most of us are home. We have the TV going, we have our podcast going, we're listening to music. I am suggesting tip number one, turn it off. You have to focus on one thought at a time. What I've done is eliminated the distractions, eliminated the noise, and I find that I am more productive. I'm getting more work done. When it comes to rest, here's a tip. I have 2 tips for rest. So Miss Ariane, she mentioned last year about the blue light. Many of us, that was the first time that we heard that. I did some research on it and really understanding that some of our phones, here's a tip. Activate the blue light reduction on your phone. If you don't have that option on your phone, here's a tip for when you're resting, is dimming your screen light or turning your phone completely off. I know many of us can't do that because we don't have landlines, but what I would like for you to do is, if you can, take the phone out of your bedroom. What is happening when you're sleeping and you think you're sleeping and that phone, the alerts are coming through? It is disturbing your rest. So those are 3 tips when it comes to your head, your mind, your thoughts, and really moving away. Like I said, multitasking and resting. Those are your 3 tips. Turn that phone off, turn the music off, turn the television off, dim your screen if you can, and then making sure, I know, and this varies when we talk about sleep and rest. The recommended sleep time is 7 to 9 hours. I know myself, I only get about 3 hours, 3 to 5 hours, but I'm pushing that. And I say this to people that I work with. I say this to my friends. Don't try to eat the whole elephant. Take one bite at a time. If you're getting 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night, increase that by 30 minutes. So just continue to increase those increments until you get up to the 7 to 9 hours. And what happens is you find yourself in the morning, you are refreshed. Your skills are more sharpened. You can think better, because when you're distracted and multitasking, you're actually decreasing your short-term memory. So following those 3 tips when it comes to your head and your brain, your thoughts, multitasking and rest. I'm going to move to the neck, shoulders, and back. And I combine those. And when we think about our neck, shoulders, and back, we think about the weight of the world. You know, you hear people say the weight of the world is on my shoulders. And even as I'm sharing this with you, I can feel tightness in my back. So there's a very quick exercise that I want you to do. I'm going to verbally go through it, and then I'm going to walk you through it. So first, we're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to inhale. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to roll our shoulders into the back. And as you get to the back, you'll feel that tightening. On the exhale, I want you to release and lower your shoulders into a resting position. So we're going to get yourself comfortable, and we're going to close our eyes. Take a deep breath in, rolling your shoulders back. And you feel that tightness. You're going to release everything on the exhale that is no longer serving you. You can do this throughout the day. I do this several times throughout the day, repeating that and releasing the weight of the world. So that's your neck, shoulders, and back. I'm going to move down into the chest. And I know you're still taking notes. The chest houses many of our organs, but the one that I want to emphasize is the heart. I'm a heart disease survivor. I had uncontrolled hypertension that was acquired based on healthy eating habits, a healthy lifestyle. I was 250 pounds. And what happened with the weight on my body is it damaged the walls of my heart. So heart disease and healthy heart is very sensitive, and I have a passion behind it. When we think about the chest and we think about the heart that is housed, I wanted to share this really quick statistic with you because this is alarming and I want you to be alarmed. The CDC, the Center for Disease and Prevention, they report 650,000 deaths from heart disease each year. 650,000. I think of myself. So each day I'm working towards heart health. One of the tips that I want you to understand when we're thinking of heart health is really moving. It's physical activity, moving your body. I know with busy schedules, you can't get to the gym, but I wanted to share a couple tips with you. What happens when you move physically every day? It lowers your risk of heart disease. A couple things that you can do. You can get up, you can walk from your front door down to your mailbox. You can take a walk around the block. You can run if you can, if you're able to do so, or you can dance. I take about 20 to 30 minutes in my bathroom in the morning getting dressed. I turn my music on, and I am serious. I'm moving and I'm dancing because I'm working on, I'm beyond preventing heart disease, but now I have to manage and maintain. So this is part of my routine as well. You can swim. Take part in yoga. If you have a backyard and you have a garden, make sure that you are taking time to really just move on a daily basis. The other thing that I like to say when it comes to physical health is make sure that you are consulting your physician. And I'm going to reiterate that a couple times throughout the presentation because it's so important for us to have an active, engaging relationship with our physician. So I hope as you're taking notes that you will take some of this back into your next visit with your doctor to make sure these are some things that you can do. I'm going to move down to the upper extremities. And actually what I did was I combined the heart, wrist, hands, and fingers. And many of us are working from home. We're working on our laptops. But I also wanted to include those who are our manual labor folks, because there are some preventions there that I want to share for them as well. When we think about our upper extremities, we want to make sure that we don't overuse those. We're on our phones daily, we're typing. For those of you who are manual labor workers, there's this repetition that you may be doing with your hands. The tip that I have for you, so I have two sections of tips here. I have tips for our laptop users, and then I have a tip for our manual labor folks. So for laptop users, and you don't have to do this now, but if you can just write this down, it's called desk press. And I'm going to demonstrate it for you so that you'll know how to do it. So while you're seated at your desk, you're just going to slide back away from the desk. You're going to place your palms up underneath the desk. So you're going to put them underneath the desk and you're going to slightly press upward. And what you're doing is you're just stretching the wrist muscles, you're stretching those tendons, you're flexing the joints. And it's just, once again, it's taking you out of the natural routine and giving you something different to do. So it changes up that repetition. You can hold that for 5 to 10 seconds and repeat it throughout the day. For our manual labor workers, I want you to do this. I want you to grab a tennis ball. If you have a tennis ball or a small ball, keep it in your car. Don't do this while you're driving. But before you leave in the morning, you're sitting in your car, you're getting everything situated before you drive. Take the tennis ball and hold it in your hand and just tighten it for 5 to 10 seconds. You want to tighten it because once again, you're strengthening that wrist muscle. And when you get to work, if you want to take the tennis ball in with you, want to do it on your break, but just make sure that you have it readily available. Those are 2 tips in improving and maintaining or preventing injury when it comes to your upper extremities. I love this. I don't know about you guys, but I am such a big proponent when it comes to physical health. I live this, I eat it, I breathe it, and I'm so excited to share this information with you. So we're going to move on down to the rest of the body. We're going to go into the abdomen. You know, when I think about the abdomen, you know, our abdomen houses many of our organs, but I really want to focus on gut health because you know, many of us, we have poor eating habits and we're just eating, and I have some tips around eating as well. But when we think about the abdomen, we think about our gut health. Gut health is a really complex subject to talk about. So I want to just break it down into, once again, we don't have to eat the whole elephant tonight, but we're going to take bite-sized pieces. It's a huge impact to the whole body. So when we think about healthy gut, the contributions, there's a contribution when your gut is healthy to a strong immune system. Heart health, once again, that's my topic there. Brain health, improved mood, healthy sleeping. We're back to those the sleeping. Everything is intertwined, head to toe. It also improves an effective digestion. So when we think about those bowel movements, so I'm going to go into the tips to improve gut health. Once again, work with your physician. Have an engaging, active, and healthy relationship with your doctor. See them on a regular, even if it's once a year. See your physician on a regular basis. So tip number 1 to improve gut health is working with your physician to identify any food intolerances that you may have. Number 2, reduce the amounts, and I know that you guys hear this all the time, but processed foods, sugary foods, foods that are high in fat. If you're eating, fast food 2 to 3 days out of the week, cut back, just have it once a week, have it once every 2 weeks. Like I said, we're taking baby steps here. We want to go to our tip number 3 is increasing high fiber foods. So we want you to take in more of your beans, peas, oats, bananas, berries. I like to throw berries, strawberry, blueberries into my oat milk, put it in the microwave and have that for breakfast. So increasing those high fiber. If you're not having bowel movements, and I know this is a very sensitive topic for many, but it is important when it comes to improving gut health, you should be having regular bowel movements. And if you're not, that's something that you want to speak with your physician about. So now I'm going to combine a couple of these. So pelvic and buttocks. When you think about body parts, you don't always think about improving your pelvic, right? So when we think about pelvic, this is possibly functioning and managing the control of your bladder, your bowel, and your reproductive organs. A few tips when we want to improve, your bowel, your bladder. You probably don't think about this, but meditation and it's guided relaxation. And what happens is it loosens those tight muscles in your pelvic area. Tip number 2 to improve pelvic health is avoid constipation. And, I heard this years ago from a medical professional is having ample amounts of water. It's like giving your insides a shower or giving yourself a bath. Increasing fiber and exercise, once again, moving. Tip number 3, when it comes to pelvic health and improving that, dietary changes, once again, dietary changes your stool consistency, so it helps you out there. I'm going to move into the buttocks. We sit on our buttocks for hours on end. Many of us work 10, 12, 13 hours a day, and we don't get up as much as we should. So when we think about that, to relieve back pain, I know for me, I suffer from sciatica. That's a nerve that runs down from your spine into your buttocks, down the side of your leg and into your ankle. I will tell you this, that when you experience sciatica pain, you want to make sure that you're relieving that. But you also want to make sure that you are not causing injury. So what I'd like for you to do when it comes to your buttocks is getting up periodically and walking around. Many of you have iWatches and you have the alert that goes off for you to stand up. You're going to stand up for a full minute. You're going to walk around and do that every hour. If you don't have a watch, just keep track. I like to check things off. You can have a little posted by your desk and say, okay, here's my times. I'm going to get up and walk around because you want to prevent injury. Now, here's my last area, moving down into your lower extremities. And I have combined the lower extremities to include thighs, your knees, feet, and toes. And it goes back to, I think about the weight of the world on our shoulders, our back, and our neck. Well, we are carrying weight on our bodies that impact our hips, impact our knees and our ankles. So what I want you to do is, in order to relieve pain and reduce risk of further injury, this is for active and non-active, is maintaining a healthy weight. And once again, speaking with your physician, if he's talked to you about being overweight, really engaging with what he's offered you, really engaging with walking and exercising that I mentioned earlier. So tip number 1 with lower extremity to reduce and prevent injury is maintaining a healthy weight. Carrying that excess weight around, when we think about folks who have had to have hip replacements and knee replacements and they've not had any injuries, that's due to weight. It's, it wears that cartilage down. Oftentimes you'll hear maybe your family members will say, oh, the doctor said it's bone on bone. That's because they've worn that cartilage down. And then tip number 2 in this last body part is strengthening the muscle and joints to improve range of motion. And that will also protect that cartilage. we've gone from the head to the toes. I'm going to talk a little bit before we go. I thought about owning your mark and what that means when we think about physical health for our total body. So when I think about that, I think about the body. So it's like, BODY. Okay, what can I leave with our listeners? What can I leave with our sorors? So if you can just write this down: reclaiming your physical health and owning your mark. Think about the body. The letter B, believe that the time is now. Oftentimes we want to wait until February 1st, or we want to wait until after the holiday. We're going to do it in the fall. No, if you're waiting for a sign, the time is now. So B is believe the time is now. The O is outline your health goals. I say to all of my friends and family, you can't manage what you're not measuring. If you don't see it, what are you measuring and what are you managing? So the O is outline your health goals. The D is dedicate time daily. As a mom and a wife, I know I go through mom guilt and wife guilt, and I know some of you do the same. It's not selfish to focus on self. So the D is dedicating time daily to get self-focused. Like I said, you may not be able to address all of the body parts. Take a body part and the insight and the tips and address those on every month. Take one a month. And then the why. How can you own your mark without this not being about you? You get one body. Take ownership. Own your mark. So I'm going to leave you with 3 practical tips because I know you still have your pen and paper ready. So we're going to go through those. That first practical tip is, and I say this for everyone, partner with a qualified professional. That can either be your physician, your health coach, a certified personal trainer, a therapist, a mentor, someone who's qualified to take you from where you are to where you need to be and where you're called to be. And then the last tip, I'm a big proponent of this, is move daily. You have to move your entire body, at least 10 to 45 minutes. So once again, listen, own your mark, take ownership, reclaim your physical health. I want to say thank you again to Miss Ivy. Thank you all for joining. And once again, as you can tell, I'm very excited to share this information. Thank you, Ms. Ivy.
We've got a new segment tonight that you'll be hearing weekly called The Creative Eye with Isaiah. Isaiah, what do you have to share with us tonight?
I want to leave with a creative tip. As Dr. Hammond and Dr. Felice have talked about mental health and body and everything, creativity is one of the greatest things that you can use to give yourself a mental break. And so whether that is, singing in the shower, writing a poem, or even coloring in a coloring book, being creative at some point in your day will allow you to release some of the tension and the toxic built up in your body.
Isaiah, before you go into your final comments, I wanted to share with folks that while you're talking creativity, Mom McGregor made this beautiful blanket, and I said that I wanted to share it because in your segment, when you're talking about creativity and the need to use this to help our minds, to help our bodies, Mom McGregor in her senior years is doing just that. To know that if Mom at 83 can do just what Isaiah is doing, is saying and creating such a beautiful piece of work. And if you're interested in purchasing her blanket, you can go to her Facebook page, shameless plug for Mom. And thank you, Isaiah, for sharing that we all need to bolster in our creativity.
One, we always seed where we receive in the best way, the greatest way, and the way that we do that is by buying the merchandise and the tickets to the masterclass. I would like to see in the comments, while I am discussing this, who has already gotten their t-shirt and or their ticket to the masterclass. Currently, the link for the masterclass is on the screen. It is ivyinc.eventbrite.com. It is really simple. The price is $20.22. This is an investment in yourself and the speakers that Miss Ivy has brought on to share with us and give us great insight. Also, go over to greaterthan.bulletin.com, where Miss Ivy has talked about leaving a legacy of light. And I'm telling you, it's amazing. I read the article this morning, but I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to leave my personal comment.
I just wanted to end tonight to confer the blessings of God over both of your lives.
Thank you.
And over your practices, and over your families, and over your dreams and visions and aspirations, with elegance and with grace and with poise and with excellence. You all are a definition of what it means to own your mark. And so I'm just so grateful for you. And I just speak the blessings of God over your businesses and over all of our presentations, from Pastor Wright to Charlotte to both of you. And we have my niece Ariane coming up with next week. And we know she is a lethal weapon, and it's going to be amazing.
Thank you, Miss Ivy.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you both. We'll see you soon. What these ladies did tonight was incredible. But I'm telling you, my niece Ariane Turner is coming next week with both barrels loaded. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is Monday Mentoring Moments. It's more than a moment. It's a whole movement. We'll see you soon. God bless.